Okay, so as I was saying in the beginning videos, one of the great things about this program is that we can actually share our notebooks with others, okay? The key, though, is to make sure that when you create your OneNote notebook, that you put it into the OneDrive cloud area. You got to have it in the cloud area in order to share it properly, okay? All right, so what we're going to do first of all is I'm going to go ahead and share this notebook, the one called Computer Software Training. I'm going to share this with one of my other accounts that I have, and that is with student E. Okay, so I've got a number of different Office 365 accounts because I do regular training as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to share this particular notebook with student E. So I want to show you guys how we go about doing this. Pretty easy to do. So what you'll do is you've got up on the screen here, it's open right there. Now if we go into the File tab, all right, you'll see the different notebooks that we have open right now. We've got that one as well as the private one. Now what I do is I go down here to Settings, and where do you think I might go to share it? You guessed right. I go here to Share or Move. So click onto that. And then this is where you specify who you want to share it with. So I'm just going to type in STUD, and there will be student E. All right, so I can click onto that. Now if I have other people I want to add, then I can type in another STU, and I can share it with student F as well if I wanted to, right? I can also put a little bit of message in here letting them know what's happening, because what's going to happen is when I go to share this, it's actually going to show up, or it's actually going to be sent out as an email. So student E, when student E goes into their Outlook email there, they'll actually see this, and there'll be a link that they can click onto in order to get into the computer software training notebook that I'm sharing, right? So you do that. That's all you got to do, really. And probably another good thing to keep in mind is that you want to definitely have it where they can edit. If you were to change this to where they can just view it, then they'll be able to still open it up. They'll still be able to go through the whole notebook and read everything, but they won't be able to go in there and contribute anything. So if that's what you want, then you would go with the one that says can view, meaning only view it. But we're going to leave it as the edit. I'm going to click on a share, and off it goes. That's all I got to do. Now, student E will have received an email by now, and I know student E did because I've got the computer sitting next to me, so I know what's going on there. But what I did was I forwarded that email message that my machine sent out to them, just so you can actually see what the email looks like. So I'm just go back into Outlook here. Let me just bring this up real quick. And there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. And this is what the message looks like, see? So student E at their end, this is what they see on their email. And then all they're going to do is click on to open, and it will then open up their window into the one-page or OneNote program, and take them directly to my notebook. All right, so I just want to show that to you here. All right, so now student E has clicked onto that link to open up the OneNote computer software training notebook. At their end, it's going to take a few seconds to get in there and open everything up. So now on student E's screen is now what you're seeing on my screen, okay? And we're actually on the same page and everything. So I'm going to have student E, that's me still. Student E is going to go to this area right here and add some more information to that, right? So right now I'm going to go ahead and hit the enter key a couple times, and then I'm going to type in some more information there. All right, so we'll do that. And you'll see on my screen here, there's SE for student E, showing that student E got in here and did something. We're not seeing it yet, but it'll pop up in just a second. And there it is. Let me just kind of pull this down a little bit. There we go. And that's what they added. That's pretty neat. Okay, now student E is going to create a new page within the alpha section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on a new page in there, and I'm going to type in, for the name of that page, I'm going to type in, let's say, student E thoughts, just to make it pretty obvious there. Enter that in, and there you go. Pops up there. There it is. And student E has not done anything yet. Okay, now student E is going to type in some information on that page. So I'm typing it right now. And we'll wait for a short delay here. And eventually you'll see it update over at this end. And there it is, right in there. So that is pretty cool. We're going to go down a little bit more here, type a little bit more on that, just like that. All right, give it a few seconds. Abracadabra, come on. There it goes. Look at that, huh? Okay, now student E has just put a important tag onto that first paragraph. So that should come up. Oh, there it is. That was quick. Okay, so now you see appearing here a audio recording that student E had made and put onto that same page. I mean, that's pretty cool. So I can go now to that. I can click onto it. I can hit play, or I can just double click it here, either one. And let me turn up the volume here so you can hear this better here. All right, so here we go. So listen, here's what it is. It's actually me talking, but I'm on student E's computer doing it. Hopefully this is a recording here. So testing 1, 2, 3. How about that? Testing 1, 2, 3 is pretty cool. Student E speaking. So here we go. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. How about that? That's pretty cool stuff there. Okay, so now once we had a collaborator, that being student E, in there, at any time, I'm just going to move around here a little bit so we can kind of change it up here. At any time, you can actually go to an area that will show you all of the people that have been contributing and what they have contributed, okay? If we go over here to history, all right, you'll see in here we've got this section right here. Now let me just show you one little thing here. If I go back to alpha, you'll notice, you know, when student E had put their information, their notes onto the page, it put that little author mark there to let us know that that's student E doing that. If for some reason you don't want to see that, what you can do is you can go over here where it says hide authors, click onto that, and that hides it, okay? Which is fine. I'm going to leave it on, but you can do that. Now, the other thing, we go over here to this thing here called Find by Author. When you click onto that, it shows a little panel on the side here. We have computer software training, that's me, and when I click onto that, that's a pretty long list. I mean, I've done all of that stuff. All right, all that was mine, okay? If I click it again, then it rolls it up. Now I've got student E. Okay, that was the person we were just working with, right? I click onto that one, and it shows all that student E has done. So I can actually go and click onto here, and it jumps me over there to show the one thing, and then I can click onto here, and it shows another thing that they did. Remember, we added something to that as well. And as you can see, it kind of highlights it, just like you see there. Go back to the first one here. Same thing here. That's kind of highlighted, just doesn't really show it very well, but there that is too. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, so I'll close that up. Now, The other thing we have as well is this recent edits. And if you click onto that, what that does, it shows us what we've done today. So if I click on today, then it gives me a list of all the things that were put in today. If I go back in there again, since yesterday, last 7 days, 14 days, and so forth. So pretty neat. If I go here to all pages sorted by date, then it shows today, yesterday, last week, and so forth. So that's pretty slick there as well. So what I just did is I went to Student E's computer and I actually added a new page to the system. I actually added it on the Lambda tab or section, and it's something called New Page by E. That's the name of the page. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that you'll notice up on the ribbon along the top here, it has something here as far as next unread, marked as or mark as read, and so forth. What happens then, which is really cool, is that especially when you've got collaborators that are in here adding more pages and doing whatever they're doing, you might want to get an idea of what's new. All right. I mean, it's one thing to get a listing of all the authors and to see what pages they've authored, but it's hard to tell if that's new stuff that you've already read or what. This indicator being lit up the way it is right now, where you see how it says unread here, next unread, that means that there's at least one page somewhere in our notebook that hasn't been read, right? So again, this is a great feature to keep on top of anything new that's been kind of added to the system. To the notebook here, you're going to know it by seeing that. So when you go over to history, you'll see that come in. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to click onto this. Now watch what happens. Now, right now we're in alpha, right? We're in alpha Student E Thoughts, right? Now I go ahead and I click onto that, and it jumps me, like I said, over to Lambda into New Page by E, and there it is. So now the minute that you leave it, go to another page or go to another tab or whatever, it still kind of shows as unread there, see? Now if I go back to next unread, it takes me right back there again, right? So what it's making me do basically is go to here and click it as mark as read, and now I've read it. So it's one thing to maybe jump to the page but not read it, and you'll come back to it later on. So you don't want it to just automatically, just because you went to the page, oh, it's marked as read. It's only going to be marked as read when you mark it as read, all right? And even if you mark it as read and then you say, okay, I want to remind myself to reread this later on, then you can go back to here again and say mark as unread, right? So now I'll go back to alpha here, and let's say I come in, a couple days later, I can still go and click on to next unread, and it'll bring me eventually to this particular page again. And then I can say, okay, now I've definitely read it. So if I do that, and if I just go to another page, say, now it's marked as read. That's pretty cool. So I don't even have to go in there and tell it I want to mark it as read. I'll just go here and let's say I'll pick this one here, let's say, and I'll mark that as unread, right? So now if I go to alpha, it still kind of shows it. If I go and say next unread, it takes me there. Now I can either at this point say, okay, I've read it, I'll go here and I'll mark it as unread, or as read, or what I can do is just go to another page and it will assume that I read it. So you have to be kind of careful with that one. All right, I think that's about it with that part. Now, the other thing I want to show you real quick, I'm going to go back to alpha here, and I've got the Student E Thoughts there, and I can go back to this first page here as well that was contributed to as well. We've got something here called page versions, and if I go and click onto that, just like that. Okay, so what I want to show you here with this versions is I'm going to go over here back to the Gamma tab there. And I'm going to go to my Gamma page 1. And I'm sitting there looking at this. I'm saying, wait a minute. I had a couple of paragraphs of text there. I had something down here. It's gone. What happened to it? One of my collaborators must have gone in there and deleted that. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want that to be deleted. That's something that I needed. I don't know why they took it upon themselves to have taken it out. But that's student E. So what I can do is, while I'm here, go into history, go to page versions, and then it will show me page versions by clicking onto that. So there it is. So this will show you, like this is the most recent right here. So I click onto there, and I say, yeah, that looks okay. And I can go to this one here, all right? Pretty much the same thing. Pretty much, well, now that's without the graphic and all that. And I say, okay, which version do I want back? And I say to myself, I want this one. This was the most recent. So I want to bring that back as my page, as what I had originally. So what I do is, up at the top here, it says, this is an older version. Click to restore. This is the main page. So I click there, all right, and I say restore version, right? Or what I can do is I can copy it to a different, location if I wanted to, but that's going to get kind of confusing. I just want to have this, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit restore version, just like that, and there it is. So now that is the new version. On the other hand, let's say I go back to, let's say, this one here, or where was it here? Well, let's just say we have this one here. What I can do is I can take this one, click onto this, copy page 2, all right? And I can copy it, somewhere else. So I'll just copy it to the same area here. So if I go here to Gamma, right, I can just do that and hit copy. And now what it did this down here. So there's the copy. So in that original situation, maybe I would say, okay, I'll go along with what they say, but I want to take the current version, the one that I selected there, and make a copy of it and put that, maybe below here somewhere, and then maybe rename the page. And that way I'd have like a before and an after version, right? So I think that page versions is a really good thing to have, especially if you've got collaborators, but also too, maybe even to protect it from yourself even. It might be somewhere where you might go in there one day and take a page, such as maybe take this one right here, and go, oh yeah, I don't need that. I'm going to delete that, and I don't need that. I'm going to delete that, all right? And then, you come back a week or two later on, you're like going, you know what? I don't like what I did here, all right? So I can actually go back here to page versions, hit page versions, there it all is, and I can look at this one here, and that was the most recent one. I say, you know what, I want to keep that. So I'm just going to go back to here, restore version, that's it. Okay, so hopefully this will come in handy for what you're doing, as I always say. Hope you enjoyed the video. Start using this stuff. This is good stuff, especially if you're going to be collaborating, having other users in on your notebook. Great thing, great set of tools to have here to work with. So appreciate you watching. Take care.